How you feeling so far?
I feel amazing. Hi, welcome to Emerging Motherhood. My name is Anissa. You know, I'm working on loving myself first, as always, as I hope you do too. And one of the ways in loving myself first is definitely reconnecting with your body. So with me today is my friend Bekah.
Hi, I am the owner of Mountain Misfit, and I'm the creator of the Breathe Bitch yoga mat.
Oh, she's one of my crunchy friends because there's a lot of us here in Colorado and Levi.
There's a lot of granola here.
There is. I love the Breathe Bitch yoga mat. It's just so cute because sometimes, especially when you're going into something new, you can be a little intimidated. And if somebody's kind of already got that vibe of like, breathe, bitch, breathe.
That's literally kind of what it was born out of was, yes, it's funny. And, you know, I'm a vulgar yogi, a self-termed vulgar yogi. So, you know, yes, I'm a yoga teacher, but you're going to hear me cussing, you're going to hear me swearing. So why not put that on the fucking yoga mat? I mean,
you're a normal ass person. You just also use this for like health and wellness.
Man, I do yoga so I don't go to jail. So
it should be on the back of the mat. I do yoga, so I don't go to jazz.
That'll be the next design.
Yeah. Okay, so you went through all the yoga training.
Yeah, so essentially it's like a 200-hour completion. And so I was in yoga teacher training for about 5 months back in 2023. I graduated in May of 2023. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
But you've been doing yoga your whole life. It's not like
that was at least a decade. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've been really, you know, very athletic. You know, I was a gymnast and then a cheerleader, and then, you know, I kind of dove into yoga like right after high school when I wasn't really doing anything, and that's when that's where my love for it took off, definitely. And
awesome.
You know, dealing with like anxiety and depression, I just really realized that yoga was like the main way that I could, you know, stop levitating above my body and like ground myself. And it just became such a beautiful like spiritual practice. And
oh my God, I love that. And so, okay, so you know how sometimes in those moments of like anxiety and depression where you kind of like, you are kind of outside of your body, how does yoga kind of help you in those moments? You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. So I think the main thing for me, and obviously everyone's different, for me, it's really about mindfully breathing and focusing on my breath, because, you know, science has proven time and time again that meditation and breathing are really good for literally calming down your nervous system. So it, you know, fight or flight mode, which is when our parasympathetic nervous system is activated, is when we're anxious and stressed and go. And then to bring yourself into the sympathetic nervous system is really about controlling your breathing, because it directly correlates with your heart rate and your heartbeat and anxiety.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
I know. I've done that at the gym where you can watch your fucking heart rate. Like, I'll be on the Stairmaster and like, and then if you start forcing yourself to breathe slow, even though you're still on the Stairmaster, your heart rate goes down.
And they say it's crazy too to like really to try and focus on your breathing even when you're like doing things like such as running or yoga or, you know, anything active. It really is so beneficial for your body.
Right.
And it's like you're literally calming. We have the ability to calm ourselves the fuck down.
I know it by breathing.
Yeah,
because on a previous episode I had a therapist on, and she said the same thing. She was talking about, you know, coming back to center, and she was like, yeah, breathing. It's like the cheapest, the easiest.
Seriously.
Like, and the quickest.
Yeah.
I love that.
Literally, it takes just a few minutes. I mean, people say, and like experts say, that you should breathe intentionally, mindfully breathe, like at least like 10 to 15 minutes a day, but you feel the effects of it within like 3 to 5 minutes. So even if you don't have that much time, even if you're in the car, if you're at work, if you're in the bathroom stall, you know, just like wherever you are, you can take 3 to 5 minutes to really like pull yourself out of fight or flight and into like rest and digest. And
rest and digest.
Right? That's so cute.
That is adorable. Did you learn that in yoga school?
No.
That was my mama.
That was on Google.
Does yoga school focus a lot on breathing? Because I know that's huge to you. That's like your huge thing is breathing, which I fucking love. How does yoga incorporate it with breathing?
Definitely, yeah. So obviously when you're going to to yoga teacher training, you're being trained on how to, guide people through these asanas, which is just another word for poses. In yoga teacher training, you're taught a lot about the verbiage to use, like how to communicate, how to hold yourself, where to walk when people are doing the poses.
Oh, really? Yeah. They teach you all that, like if you were in a studio?
It's a lot. It's really a really cool dance that's kind of being made. It's just like you're moving and you're speaking, and depending on, where you're trying to lead the students into, you'll kind of go to like that point of the room. So it's just like you're remaining the focus of the room and just seamlessly kind of like flowing through the students and just educating them on how to mindfully breathe.
Sure.
And one thing really cool about the yoga teacher training that I did was the teacher was really into meditation. So we meditated a lot. We meditated, like 15 to 30 minutes every single class. And it's just, and then from that, I really started meditating like every single day because of that. And really at the end of the day, what you're doing when you're meditating is mindfully breathing. You're focusing on your breath, and there's multiple different ways to do it. It's just like you can inhale, pause, like hold it, and then exhale, or you can like inhale for the same amount of seconds that you're exhaling for. You can also exhale for a little bit longer because you're trying to get rid of like stagnant energy in the lungs, which is really good if you do have anxiety, for kind of flushing out, all the old essentially, and getting new, like revitalized, like energetic air into your body.
Now, when we talk about energy, I feel like people always want to discredit it and make it sound like some woo-woo bullshit.
Bitch, energy is real, I'll tell you what.
But then, like, scientifically, too. This isn't just like a bunch of, like, girls in leggings.
No, this is literally like a science that people have, scientists and world-renowned scholars have literally done, like, calculations on this. And, obviously, science, like... Energy is like not created nor destroyed. Come on, we learned that in like second grade.
Literally, I know.
So it's all about, in a form, like the words that we speak is energy being put out. The energy behind what you're saying or your actions, like it literally has a ripple effect in the universe.
Absolutely.
And it has a ripple effect in your own body. If you're full of that negative ass energy, like... damn, your organs, you feel it. Like you store anxiety and depression and negative energy, like literally in your body, like in your cells.
Right? Isn't that why people get like those real grumpy, angry fucking people?
You gotta stretch that shit out. That shit.
Exactly. Yep. So then, along with the breathing and the stretching, is that why yoga is just so beneficial? Because it's like you're breathing, but then you're also like, can you talk about that? Like, breathing sounds great, but how does yoga, like the stretching and the breathing together, what does that really do for the body? Is that...
Yeah, so I mean, it kind of goes back to that energy that we talked about, and the fact that when you're mindfully breathing, you're physically calming your body, and then when you're calming your body, you're able to like remove the negative energy like from your muscles, so then you're stretching it out to like kind of release it. And they say like twists in yoga it's metaphoric, but you're wringing out your organs from like stress and discomfort and pain that we've stored in our body, whether that be a mental pain that we're just not releasing out of the body, or a physical pain, so
Okay, so ever since we've like met and started hanging out and everything, I have started to like intentionally stretch. Like, I'm not good at yoga, but I've started to like intentionally stretch and then intentionally breathe. And I've tried to be like, make my stretches last a long time. And I can feel like, if I'm stretching and then I start taking my deep intentional breaths, and I can like feel like almost like a click, and like and then I like can stretch a little more.
Yeah.
Is that what you're talking about? Like that kind of release feeling?
Absolutely. Well, and then as you practice it, I mean, you get, more limber. You're able to, stretch a little bit deeper. And especially when you're breathing, I always say, when I'm cueing poses and talking and guiding the students through intentionally breathing, just because like we all need that reminder, right? Breathe, bitch. Like we all need the reminder to like breathe. And sometimes you, especially in poses that are maybe a little bit more uncomfortable for you, or you're not very good at it, it's like you kind of hold your breath, and so breathing literally kind of like propels you a little bit further. I always say, inhale, open up your chest, stand tall, and then exhale, kind of like melt a little bit, propel forward, kind of like just like allow the breath to kind of move you, a little bit deeper. And it's a form of meditation in and of itself, is breathing and just focusing on your breath as well. as you are nourishing your body, literally giving self-love to your body in the form of, stretching out points of discomfort in your body, right? Especially if like you're sitting down, your hips are probably really tight if you don't actively work on, stretching them, because, our hips are literally at play no matter what. Whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, whether you're exercising, our hips are pretty much activated all the time.
Yeah, they're center point of your body. Yeah.
That's why I think, like hip opening exercises are just like my personal favorites.
I love that. Yeah, I know. I have read that a lot. That is where we store trauma. I have never heard about the lungs, like that. That is really cool about when you take a deep breath, that it's helping to literally flush out the
Absolutely, because that's just stagnant air in there. And a lot of people that are really shallow breathers, they're not getting the air all the way into their lungs. It's like little sips as opposed to like a gulp of water.
Right. So, oh gosh, yeah.
And then you literally can feel the difference in your body after just a few minutes. You're like, your heart rate has slowed, right? Like your anxiety has calmed.
Yeah, your thoughts are more...
Exactly, you're more grounded. You're feeling like on the earth. Sometimes like with my own anxiety, I feel like I'm floating away.
Absolutely.
I don't know if that's normal.
Sexy. Yeah, very normal.
I like literally grounding yourself is a physical practice, it's something that you can do if you feel uncomfortable or disassociating.
Especially if you've had like a really hard day, like a day where the whole day is fucking stress. There is something nice to come back, like, because you do have to come back to your body. You have to realize, like, I live here, I'm on Earth, whether I like it or not.
And once I feel like grounding yourself really is just so beneficial in being like living in the present, in the moment, not thinking about your past, and also not like just living in the future. It's about being right here, right now, and whatever feelings and emotions, it's almost like a wave, right? You can see it, you can sit with it for as long as you need to, and then let that shit go. When you store that pain and uncomfortable feelings or thoughts or interactions in your body, like you just sit there and like like the little hamster wheels going.
And yoga's pretty low impact, right? Like you don't need to be like able to run a marathon, nothing crazy.
No. Okay. Seriously, my favorite thing about yoga is it's literally exactly what you want it to be. And my flow, what I do that day is very personalized to that day. I don't do the same thing every single day. Sometimes I'm not in the mood to sit in, a pose for like 5 minutes. I'm just like, what? I don't have that time. I need it to be a little bit bing, bang, boom.
Right.
Or there's sometimes where I'm like, I'm just feeling doing poses and flows on the ground. I'm not trying to do balancing exercises. Right now, I need to stretch and bring myself literally down to the earth, So it's like, it's as easy or hard as you want it to be.
Awesome.
That's the thing, is like, there's literally a pose for everything. I mean, lying on the ground, that's literally a yoga pose.
I know, I do love that. I'm like, I'm doing child's pose right now.
Right? That's like one of my favorite ones.
I know, just laying there.
Yeah, seriously, it feels so good, and you're spending time with yourself.
Yeah. Does your mind wander when you're like, okay, should your mind wander when you're doing the poses? Because when I was doing, like when I was like younger and in my 20s, and I was like doing it because I thought it would make me like look a certain way. I wasn't doing it for the whole heart of it. I just couldn't get into it. Like, is it okay that your mind wanders? What should you be thinking of or doing, or how can you like get the most out of your yoga?
I think that's a really good question. I think honestly it just depends on the person. I think at the end of the day, the most beautiful parts of yoga is returning to yourself. It's not necessarily about how good you are, how flexible you are. It's about you spending time with yourself and reflecting. So I think that whatever kind of like that means for you, whether that means, allowing yourself to kind of revisit the day, or just kind of, like just check back in with yourself. I think that it means something different for everyone. For me personally, it's about focusing on my breath, right? Because like I'm a bitch that's obsessed with breathing, I guess.
Oxygen is super important.
I guess that's really important. So, for me, that's the most important part is focusing on my breath, and then allowing myself to kind of like just take some time for myself and not worry about anything else in the world, right? I'm right there. I'm showing myself an act of self-love, and that's all it's about in that moment.
I love that. It's your moment. It's just for you. And it can be as little or as long as you want.
Exactly.
And it could be as intense and rigorous or as gentle as you need.
Absolutely.
But it's about you, yourself, centering back into your body, into yourself.
And there's sometimes like I literally just lay on the mat for like 5-10 minutes.
I know, because yoga mats are so squishy. So she is the owner of her own yoga studio.
I've got a website, and then, you know, I'm selling on my website, obviously. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok. The website is www.mountainmisfit.co. mountainmisfit.co, and we did bring you a little sham.
Okay, but this is just so cute because when you think of yoga, you do think of like snooty tooty or like so aesthetic. Like, I'm not aesthetic.
No. And like that's kind of where my
shut up, look how cute. And it is really these are I have hardwood floors. It is really nice to like just lay on something soft and it's just your little space too. It's not just for me.
And you know what, not to toot my own horn, but it is longer and wider than like average yoga mats.
Okay.
It was really important for me when I was coming up with the design. You know, I knew that I wanted it to say breathe bitch because it's like, duh. But, you know, I really wanted it to be high quality. So I searched for months researching, you know, what the highest quality was. And, you know, up until that point, I had just purchased, you know, like inexpensive, you know, $10, $15 yoga mats.
Yeah, like ones at Target.
I couldn't really justify it. So I created a yoga mat that's made out of all natural rubber. So it is, like I said, it's squishier than the average yoga mat. It's also heavier. And the reason that I chose heavier was because, you know, we don't need a flyaway. We don't need our yoga mat flying away when we're doing yoga in the park, you know. So it's just like it needs to stay on the ground.
That bitch has done some yoga. I know the fucking problems.
Right? So here we are.
I love it.
And it just happens to say breathe bitch on it because you
gotta remember sometimes. I love that. Okay, so we are gonna get switched into some yoga clothes and into some yoga moods, and we're gonna do a quick little set. Bekah's gonna lead us, and so that just something super simple, so that whenever you have a moment, you can come back to this video and do a quick little grounding moment back into yourself. And if you want more information, if you want to know Bekah better, if you want to get to know all of her stuff, her links will all be below. You can go to her website, mountainmisfit.co. .co, because we're in Colorado. C-O. And we're all building our stuff, but it's exciting. We got a lot of stuff
in progress,
And you could buy a Breathe Bitch mat if you want.
And be in the cool kids club because duh.
Okay, so we're gonna get in our yoga clothes and we'll be right back and we'll be doing some yoga for you.
Bye.
Okay, so we're ready to do yoga. And also, check out our dope little mats that say Breathe Bitch. I didn't even realize they come in two colors.
They do come in two colors.
Black.
Yep, we got black. We got a little gray-blue action going on. So whether you're a spooky little bitch like me or a cloudy, airy little fairy.
I love that. Okay, so what are we gonna do as far as the yoga is concerned?
Yeah, so we're really going to spend a lot of time on the mat today in some sitting up poses as well as some poses lying on our back. This is going to be a super mellow little flow that you can do in the morning when you just wake up. Really depending on whatever you're utilizing it for. You can use it to like kind of wake up for the day. It'll be a pretty simple, 15 to 20 minute flow that really incorporates a lot of hip tension releasing exercises.
Nice.
So kind of we're focusing on releasing stress and anxiety from our body. As we kind of talked about at the beginning of the podcast, a lot of our stress is really like it sits in our hips and it just kind of gets stuck there. So, and our hips are always in play, whether we're standing up, whether we're laying down, whether we're sitting in a chair for 8 hours a day at our job. So yeah, we're really going to focus on like our legs and our hips today and just kind of a general bringing us back into our bodies and spending some time with ourselves for a little bit. So.
Nice. Perfect. I just realized I should be barefoot.
The only reason it's better to be barefoot is just because of like the sliding. If you ever do like a downward facing dog or something, they do have yoga socks that have like those little patties on the feet. I wear those all the time if it's cold, but yes. So I always like to start off our yoga class by just kind of like sitting. So this is called easy pose. We're just going to sit here for a few minutes. I invite you to close your eyes if that's something that feels comfortable for you. As always, I will cue things, and if that just doesn't feel good to you, doesn't feel good for your body, then I always encourage you to listen to yourself and your body first and really just take this time to be with yourself for 15 or 20 minutes. I think, the world expects so much out of us, so we can give a little bit of love to ourselves. So,
I love that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. So, yeah, we're just going to get started. I invite you to close your eyes. You can rest your palms on your knees. You can set them in your lap. Really whatever feels comfortable to you in this moment. kind of keep like a soft gaze in your eyes. Don't shut them super tight. Really right now we're focusing on grounding ourselves back into our body, experiencing any emotions that might possibly come up. So with that, we'll take one big inhale through our nose and exhale deeply. Let's do that one more time. In this moment, you might feel tension arising, maybe from your legs. Maybe your legs are sore. Maybe you feel tension in your hips. Maybe your shoulders are a little tight. I invite you to just sit with that emotion at this time and don't necessarily try to change it. Just ponder it and focus on the things that you might need to work on a little bit more in this practice, whatever feels good for your body. Just allow yourself to pause for a few moments. You can trace your breath going in through your nasal passages, warming up as you inhale. Tracing it all down your spine, sending it into your legs, all the way down to your toes. And as you inhale, focus on the warming effects as it's purified in our nasal passages. And as you exhale, try to make it just a little bit longer than the inhale so that we can cleanse our lungs and get any toxic and stagnant air out of there. I'm just going to take a few more moments in this beginning spot. And if you're watching me right now, you can see I kind of organically started rotating my body. I'm just circling my hips, starting to get my heat going. Just listen to yourself. Let's take one more deep breath here. And as you exhale, you can slowly open your eyes, flutter them open. Notice any differences, even just in a few more moments. Maybe you can notice you're a little bit more calm, a little bit more grounded in your body. So we're going to start in called table pose. So we'll be on our hands and our knees with our hands about shoulder length apart and our knees about hips distance apart. Your toes are tucked behind you. And as we inhale, we're going to draw our belly down and arch through our back as we gaze up to the sky. Chest open. And as we exhale, we're going to drop our chin down to our chest, round through our back, drop our tailbone down to the mat. And we're just going to make this into a little bit of a flow. So in our inhale, we'll continue to arch through our back. Start engaging those hips and that lower back, our spine. And as we exhale, we'll round through our back. Tuck our chin to our chest. Continue with this at your own pace. The most important part is that you're following your breathing patterns and only going as fast as you can inhale and exhale. Feels so good. Right. It's just such a nice warm up. You know, we don't realize that our body needs to be activated. And we start slowly activating it more and more. We don't jump into those crazy twists right off the bat. We dip our toes in. Here you can take a little bit of a sway in the hips if that feels good to you.
Yeah, I love that.
Oh, you know, yeah, you get that little stretch when you swing side to side. Do a little circular motion, whatever feels good. And we'll just do this for a couple more moments. come back to neutral tabletop position. We're going to widen our knees a little bit more than hips distance apart. We're going to touch our toes together in the back, and we're going to slowly sit back on our heels. And this is called child's pose. And this is the first of many really awesome hip releasing poses. Again, you can take a little side to side action if that's what feels best to you, or you can simply place your forehead on the mat and just rest. And just allow yourself to be. Allow your belly to hang. Release any need to suck in. There is no need. Allow yourself to be exactly as you are right now. And allow yourself to feel comforted in this position. Similar to how a child might sleep when he's a baby. Let's take a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth with a sigh. Do that one more time. In through the nose and out through the mouth. Now with our next inhale, we'll gently float our left arm over to the top right hand corner of our mat, giving our left side body a nice little stretch here. You can feel it in your armpit, all the way down through your left rib cage, through your left side body. Deep breaths here. Letting go of any tension you've noticed in this position. Maybe your shoulder is a little bit tight. Acknowledge it. Send love to it. And let it go. And then we'll bring our left hand back to center as we move our right arm over to the top left part of the mat. Giving our right side body, right ribs, some time to breathe. And as you inhale, notice it going, traveling down your right side body, in and out of all of your ribs, creating a little bit more space than there was before. Gently float back to center. And when you're ready, we'll go ahead and sit back on up. Alright, okay. So you'll gently just come to your stomach with your palms by your rib cage. So we're going to start with a little low cobra position. So on an inhale, you'll gently raise your chest off the mat, and you can just gently place your elbows and forearms on the mat. And if this is a deep enough stretch here, then just stay here for a few more moments. Maybe you can rock your hips side to side, feel the difference in the stretch between your hips and your lower back. Maybe your tailbone is a little tight because we don't ever stretch our hips, we don't realize how much tension we are really storing in them until you move it in a position. You're like, that feels like, a little tricky. Yeah. So always listen to your body. There's a difference between a good stretch and a bad stretch. You never want to, do anything to your body. You don't want to pull a muscle. So just take it very low and slow. You can always, this is a journey, not a race.
Awesome. So, that's a good reminder. Yeah.
So if you feel comfortable, stay there. If not, and you'd like to do full cobra, you'll bring your elbows behind you and gently lift your chest to the sky. So
I'll stay here.
Listening to your body is the most important part. If you are in a cobra pose, make sure that you are dropping your shoulders down. You're not scrunching up. You're not here letting space between your ears and your shoulders. And gently lower back down to the ground. Now from here, you're going to push back up into a tabletop pose. We're going to bring our hands about 6 inches in front of us. We're going to tuck our toes behind us, straighten our knees, and send our hips up and back to the back wall. And this is our first downward facing dog. This is a really nice hip stretch. You can pedal out your feet, feel the nice stretch in your feet and your ankles. You can kind of exactly push your armpits back towards the back wall to get a nice little shoulder stretch in here as you gaze on your shins. And inversion poses are so nice because they allow some blood to rush back to our head. Which obviously for a long period of time is not good, but in short doses it's healthy for you. It improves brain function and it improves the ability to focus. When you're ready, we'll gently come back down to tabletop pose and we'll actually sit back onto our heels. So from here, we're gonna bring our right hand to the right side of our body and we're just gonna give our left arm open over. Gonna do another little side body stretch.
These feel so good.
I feel like our ribs are often just kind of avoided. We don't realize that they're literally keeping our organs safe and allowing us to breathe. So just giving them a little bit of attention. And then let's go on over to the other side. Right arm up and over your left side body. Feeling the stretch all the way from your shoulders to your armpits to your right side body. Allowing those ribs to expand. And gently float that right arm back down. And next we'll go ahead and sit onto our booties with our legs out in front of us. We can kind of shake it out a little bit. They've been doing some work, so let's give them some grace and gratitude for these amazing limbs that we a lot of times kind of take for granted and don't realize until we aren't able to use them the way we used to, that how much work they do for us and literally support us. Literally support us. All right, so this will be our first twisting position of the day. So we'll go ahead and draw our right knee to our chest. And if you want to keep it here, if that feels good to you, I encourage you to do so. If you want something a little bit deeper of a stretch, you can go ahead and fold it over your left thigh. And then we'll go ahead and place our right arm behind us with our fingertips facing the wall. Our left knee can go over our right thigh. And then we just take a gentle twist here as you gaze towards the back wall. And twisting poses are obviously the hardest poses to breathe in, right? You're literally wringing out your internal organs. So I like to say, as you inhale, focus on lengthening your spine, brightening your chest. And on your exhale, allow your organs to be wrung out like a wet wash rag. Imagine all these impurities and stagnant energy just being released from our organs. And allow your breath to propel you just a bit farther every time. And take 2 more deep breaths in here. Release any tension in our legs if they're stiff and we didn't even realize until right now. And on our next exhale, we'll gently release this twist and come back to center. And slowly bring our right leg back to the mat. We'll go ahead and do the same thing on the left side. So we'll draw our left knee to our chest. You can keep it here, or you can fold it over your right leg, whatever feels best to you in this moment. And also keep in mind that our sides are not the exact same, so something might feel good on your right side and it won't feel as good on your left side. So, sisters not twins, they're not gonna do the exact same thing. Draw your left hand behind you, fingertips towards the wall, bring our right elbow to our left thigh. Gently gaze at the back wall, or wherever your gaze leads. Don't try to force anything. And again, as you inhale, focus on brightening and literally focus on your spine lengthening. And as you exhale, allow that momentum to twist you just a bit more. Release your shoulders from your ears if you feel like they're all tensed up. Imagine that rag of impurities being wrung out and your organs becoming refreshed and revitalized. We'll take one more deep breath here. And on our next exhale, gently release, unwind. Shake up these little leggies.
I did notice on some sides it feels like I can stretch deeper than on other sides.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Well, and also, depends on what, obviously I'm a right hand, right? So I use my right hand, my right dominant everything. So I definitely notice that I'm a lot tighter, a lot less flexible on my left side of my body. And in those instances, all you can do is give yourself grace and notice the difference. They're not supposed to mirror each other. It's about honoring your body wherever it is in that moment.
Okay.
Giving yourself a little bit of grace, right? Because we all need fucking grace.
Yeah. Yes.
Awesome. So now we're going to have another little hip opening exercise. So this is called Baddha Konasana, or bound angle pose. There's 2 variations on it, just depending on where you're at flexibility wise. If you have really tight hips, not tight hips, wherever you are in this moment is where you're supposed to be. Okay. So the first place you can start is just a little bit of, it's not really crisscross, kind of like legs are a little parallel. This is a little bit less deep of a stretch for our hips to start. So I'd say if you're just starting off yoga or just trying this out today, I'd probably just stay here, because eventually we will fold forward and you'll feel a nice little hip release, but it is a deep stretch. So if you're here and you want to stay here, that's awesome. If you want to do a little bit more, you can actually bring the soles of your feet together and draw them into your pelvis. This requires, just like I said, a little bit more flexibility, and I'm not a flexible person by nature. I was a gymnast, a cheerleader, and now a yogi, and I have never been flexible, and that's just my own, that's my body doing my body. So, wherever you are is where you're supposed to be.
Cool.
So we'll go ahead and just interlace our fingers. You can interlace them behind your toes, which is called peace fingers, or you can do just a little bit.
Like literally between your toes.
Literally, yeah. Or you can just grab both toes together. As we inhale, we'll just broaden through our chest, dropping our shoulders down, making sure we are standing tall, sitting tall, not hunched over. And as we exhale, we'll gently fold forward, narrowing the gap between our head and the mat. And here, try and keep a straight back. We don't want to round our back. So wherever you fall in this pose is where you're supposed to be. Again, this is a really nice hip opener as well as a thigh stretch. Similar to the last pose, as you inhale, you'll lengthen through your spine, brighten your chest. And as you exhale, you'll gently float just a little bit closer to the mat, feeling a nice stretch in your groin area, in your hamstrings, maybe even in your knees if you're like me. I can feel that all the way down to my knees. As you take a deep inhale, allow it to travel all the way down into your spine, through your spine, down into your sacrum, into your tailbone. As you exhale, allow it to propel you just a little bit closer. And notice where any tension is stored right now. If you're feeling that tension tight in your hips, as you inhale, send that breath to that specific location. Give it some love. Honor it. Thank it. As you become a little bit more in touch with your body. Deep breaths here. If it feels good to sigh outwardly out of your mouth, I encourage you to do that. On your next exhale, just slowly release and come back to neutral spine. So to close us out today, I always like to end in Shavasana, which is when we take time laying on our backs and just kind of checking in with ourselves. So we'll go ahead and lay onto our backs.
Oh, my back doesn't hurt to lay down. Now it feels ready to lay down.
We'll have to do another one of these because this is awesome.
Okay.
So allow your toes to just fall to each side. Notice your calves and your thighs releasing and melting into the mat. And as we travel up our body, we release every nerve, every fiber of our being. We just let it melt. We allow our fingertips to soften into the mat. We allow our shoulders to unclench from our ears. We notice our throat softening and our face is more supple. We keep a soft gaze in our eyes. We don't need to clench them close. Just allow them to slowly, softly close. We release any tension in our forehead. And just take a few moments to be. Notice any differences from the beginning of this little flow to the end. Maybe you can see and feel and sense the release in your hips. Maybe you feel a little bit more grounded in yourself. Maybe you learned something about yourself today that you didn't already know. Allow yourself to absorb all of the energy and calmness of these past 20 minutes. As you inhale, take a deep breath in through your nose, sending that air all the way down your spine, through your thighs, past your knee, and out through your toes. Maybe your mind is more calm than when you started. Maybe it's not. Wherever you are right now, see it, honor it, and send it on its way. We'll just take a few more deep breaths in here. This is my favorite part of yoga.
Same.
If I could lay on my floor every day, I would. And after your next big breath in, we start to activate our body once more. You might start by wiggling our toes, wiggling our fingers, just activating your body once more and coming back to this world. And when you're ready, no rush, take your time. When you're ready, gently float your eyes back open, maybe flutter them if there's lights on. It doesn't need to be a harsh break back into reality. We can ease into it.
That's why babies come when they're born.
You can gently sit up, taking your time.
That's amazing. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome.
So if people want their own Breathe Bitch yoga mat to remember, because that really is...
Because, like, who doesn't?
Yeah. There's so many times where I'm nervous or scared, and then, you know, when the moment's over, you're like, and you realize, I don't think I was breathing. This is awesome to sit here, you know? Especially when you're turning to yoga to, you know, have a moment and you can sit down and have a little laugh and a little reminder.
So, man, laughter yoga is a very real thing as well. So I think, you know, this gentle yet aggressive reminder to breathe, bitch, come on. Like, we all need to breathe. We all have stressors in life, and just taking a few minutes out of your day can really be the difference in a calm, less anxious body versus stressed out and very tensed up.
And I love the imagery you used when you said take the deep breath in and imagine the air going in and then down your spine and pushing it all out. That, because our minds are powerful, thoughts are powerful. So it is powerful to think I'm breathing in fresh, clean air, letting it flow down my whole spine, the central nervous system, and just flush it all out. It gives me chills.
Flush that energy out.
Yeah. So if somebody wants their own Breathe Bitch mat, where can they get one?
Yes. So I have a website. It's www.mountainmisfit.co. That's MOUNTAINMISFIT.co. I also have an Instagram channel where I do sell yoga mats as well.
Okay.
Really, either way works. I'm here locally in Denver, so.
Awesome, yes. And so I'll have all the links below. You'll have her website where you can reach her. And you said you're going to soon have some more like digital content where like, because I know some people have anxiety like going to a real yoga class, like not that this wasn't a real yoga class, but like an in-person yoga class. So if they wanted to do it at home, eventually at some point, maybe they could get some videos on your site.
Absolutely. So it can be really intimidating, and I understand that, you know, firsthand. So I do have some short videos on my Instagram account. I really enjoy making educational videos in my home, and you're more than welcome to follow along there. Also, going forward in the future, I will be having some digital copies of classes on my website as well.
Awesome. Okay, awesome. So everything will be down below. Please follow Bekah. She's amazing. And it is true. That's how I found her. It was social media, and I was like, oh, I like these quick little clips of yoga sessions, and she just seemed so down to earth and so like normal that I was like, oh, okay. And you're awesome. So thank you for listening. Thank you for following along. Any old time you're feeling stressed or you need to kind of come back to your body, this is literally what I do in my life to feel better, and it has been amazing. So thank you, Bekah. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great day. Don't forget to breathe.